Time for another Bentley here at Omega. This one's really nice. Let's get started. This is a 2012 Bentley Continental GT. It is not a Speed or any special model like that. It's just a Continental GT. But that in itself is an amazing car. These are very, very fast cars, but yet they're very comfortable. We're going to take a look around this thing, talk about some of the issues it has and why it's here. And I know Mrs. Wizard definitely wants one of these, don't you?
Oh, sure. That's beautiful.
It is a very, very sweet car. Let's go ahead and take a look around this thing. We'll talk about the list. The customer actually has a couple pages of issues they want addressed. So being this is a 2012 model, it is a facelift model. If you look at a 2005 or 6 Bentley, these are all not jeweled, as they call it, with all these little LED lights, or just silver. It's kind of an updated, refreshed styling. It looks really, really nice. So go down the side, you can see it's kind of like it's not black, it's kind of like a dark brown. What would you say, Mrs. Wizard?
I call it metallic coffee.
Metallic coffee?
Sure.
I'm sure they
coffee.
Yeah, I'm sure they have their own name for it, but it's a very dark metallic brown. It has some, I don't know if those are stock wheels. As we go to the next wheel down, we'll see there's no dents here along the side. When we get to the wheel, it says Lexani. But it looks like it has some fairly new tires on it. They feel like they're new. I really like the lines of this car. It's very sleek. It comes back to kind of a hatchback, almost a hatchback. So the shape of the car would have you believe that maybe it's a hatchback and the whole thing opens up, kind of like a hatchback, but it's not. Just this back lid portion opens. You can also see right here there's a black spoiler that would pop up under certain speeds and give some downforce. It's kind of a fun joke in the shop. Have a friend or somebody's up here that's uninitiated with these cars and ask them to open the boot. It is an English car. We will call it a boot. And they can't figure it out.
Wizard, push the B.
Now I'm going to push the B, and we're going to see one of the reasons why this car is here. It should electronically lift the trunk all the way up and allow you access to the boot. Let's go ahead and try it. That might hurt your hands if you got your hand in there.
I think it said no.
It said no access today. You shall not pass. Let's try it again. I know that noise. This is a very common issue with the Bentleys. The motor that actually actuates the boot lid has teeth that get stripped. So when it reaches that point on the gear, it just makes that weird noise and then the thing just drops. We'll go over that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and continue on our tour. Our junkyard Q5 is in the way. It's kind of not movable at the moment, so we'll get a side look here. It's a beautiful profile, isn't it, Mrs. Wizard?
It is quite sexy.
Let's go ahead and hop under the bonnet. On the earlier models of these Continental GTs, this grille would actually come up with the bonnet. You'd actually have to pull, this little B section would pop up, and you actually pull on the B, because in the back you push the B, and up front you would pull the B and open the bonnet. But in these updated facelift models, this isn't even used or part of the equation for opening the bonnet. So it's just like a normal car. And there is our 6-liter twin-turbo W12. No, it's not a V12, it is a W12. The cylinders are actually staggered, like a W, if you were to take the cylinder heads off. Look it up on Google, you'll be very interested to see that. But because they stagger the cylinders like that, it's actually a very short engine. We think of a V12 in a Ferrari 550 or a Jaguar V12 or something like that. It's very long. It requires a very long hood to fit the big engine under the hood. But since it is staggered with the cylinders, they can squish the engine or the block to be shorter. And in the space of a V8, we can fit a W12. These engines put out a lot of power, 560 horsepower roughly, and also around 520 pound-feet of torque. Very, very powerful engines. They're not very fun to work on. As you can see, this thing's packed in here pretty tight. The firewall is right there. To get to coils or do any work on this engine, you're always pulling off these plenums, you're pulling off the air filter housings, you're pulling off all kinds of things. even the front grille here and everything, if you want to get to the front of the engine. It is quite an ordeal to work on these. The earlier models are known, and I'll show you when we get in the air, but there's vacuum lines that go up across the back of the transaxle, the transmission. They crack and break and make them run really bad, and it's an engine out job. As you can see on that air filter housing, it says twin turbo, and it's pretty much twin everything. It has twin throttle bodies, twin plenums, twin everything. It's like two engines, but it's one. So that's what we got going on underneath the bonnet. There's really not much to see because it's crammed in here pretty tight. Like I said, it's kind of hard to work on. The interior is beautiful. And the smell. I wish you guys could smell, have a seat with Mrs. Wizard in the interior. It's intoxicatingly great. Let's go ahead and hop into the interior.
Okay, ladies and gents, he's right. It smells amazing in here, but let's take a check at that dash before that goes away. It's 69,654 miles. Not too terribly many on this little baby. Let's go and uncover our light so we can see that beautiful, beautiful dash. Isn't that thing amazing? Wood trim around everything. Simple classic gauges. It's awesome. And yes, he didn't close that bonnet all the way, and so yes, it is saying that the bonnet's still open. As look at this dash, it is leather wrapped and it is a very high dash. It is almost shoulder height with me, very, very tall. So this is, you better have a good seat lift if you're not very tall. As we go down, lots of wood trim, lots of beautiful chrome knobs, opera pulls. We look over at our look at that. Isn't that amazing? Look at all that wood. It's just in perfect shape as well. Have our glove box down below. So move to that center. Beautiful infotainment system with HVAC controls with, of course, lots of creature comforts going on back there. Here we go. We have another B there that, of course, you have to push to get out in and out of gear. So there we go. You can push that guy as well. Again, more controls in that center section. Cup holder. And again, the itsy bitsy tiniest of little controls. And what's interesting about these is it doesn't go down, but if you pull up and then it will go all the way down and it clicks up and clicks up. So if you're familiar with like drawing tables in a classroom, which I am, they work very much like those drafting tables we have. As we look at our door card, it has two-tone leather, a dark brown and a lighter brown, with of course lots more wood in there as well. As we look at that floor, it has a beautiful customized floor mats that go through the front, the back. It's really cool with that nice diamond stitching in it. Very much a nice addition to what this came with originally. Seats are, of course, that same camelish dark leather, and nice headrest with the nice B stitched in again. But again, there is heating and cooling going on in that seat as well. As we move to the back seat, it is quite the back seat. Look at all more wood trim going on. Lots of little hidey holes. And as we slide them back, we can see got a cup holder, little cigarette lighter, and again, more opera pulls to control the vents back here as well. Being that this is a two-door four-passenger car, not terribly lots of room back there, but a little bit. If the passenger were to scoot forward a little bit, there wouldn't be too bad. Again, nice creature comforts back there. Those seats are heated and cooled as well. As we move up to our headliner, it is leather wrapped and in pristine condition. Almost too hard for that to be saggy or anything because, again, it's such a durable material. Center section here, normal controls, what we'd expect on any modern car, but again, more of that wood trim. And as always, here's our steering wheel. And again, one last B in the center of that steering wheel. And of course, doesn't do anything unless, of course, you hit the whole thing really hard and it will blast you with that horn. But again, leather wrapped steering wheel, two-tone leather here as well. Lots of simple controls on that steering wheel just to make it easy to control what's going on in the vehicle and so we can focus more on what's up ahead. Probably should not hit Hoovie's charger. Nonetheless, this is beautiful in here. I wonder what it looks like underneath. Let's get this thing in the air.
Let's go ahead and see what we got going on underneath. We can see right off the bat a Volkswagen emblem. Look at that, guys. I mentioned it was an English car. It is English styled, and there's a lot of English in it, but there's a lot of German parts as well. Volkswagen Audi owns Lamborghini, Bentley, several different other, Porsche, several other different brands. Here's our big brakes. Those look like they maybe got a little bit life left. Sway bar links are good. Our strut is nice and dry. CV boots are good. Same on the brakes there. Sway bar link is good. Strut is dry. One thing I always like to check on these is the ride height sensors to make sure they are not broken or something's wrong with them. Everything looks good there. Here's our big differential with cooling fins because it probably emits a lot of heat when transmitting 560 horsepower. Everything's looking very clean under here. It even has the writing still on the exhaust. Very, very nice and clean. There's our heat shields. So just like a Lamborghini Gallardo, this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. So this is a transaxle, transmission's kind of a mixed all together here. There is our transmission. It's a ZF. You can see the exhaust here. It kind of curls up and goes above the transmission, up to the turbos. There's some oxygen sensors in there that are very tough to get to. The starter is very hard to get to on this car. Because it's crammed in there so tight, there's a lot of things that are hard to get to. And directly above the bell housing of this transmission in that area, you really can't see it right now, but there are vacuum lines that run across. And on the earlier models, like I said, they would crack and break, and there is no way to get to them except for dropping the engine. It's kind of a big ordeal. Let's go ahead and check these wheels. Brake pads are about half gone. Sway bar links are good. Strut is nice and dry. Go over to this side. Brake pads are about half gone. CV boot is good. Sway bar link is good. Strut is dry. Everything's looking good there. We can peek through these ventilation fins. We can see our radiator is nice and dry. The fan is intact. We don't see any leaks coming from the engine pouring down anywhere. Everything's very nice and clean on this car. Very good condition. We are going to do a thorough inspection off camera where we remove all these panels and start checking every nook and cranny for any leaks or issues. So far, our video inspection is showing very clean, very nice underneath. Keep in mind when we do the video inspections, it is not the actual end-all be-all inspection that we do on our vehicles in the shop. Sometimes people say, well, you missed this or you missed that. It's not a full inspection. I'm just showing you guys what it looks like underneath. Danielson, or actually Magic Mike, will be working on this one. They will be the ones to do the hour, 2 or 3 hours worth of inspection, taking panels off and going through everything. We're just taking a quick glance on camera. We do see some little scrapes here, which is common on any of the cars this low to the ground. It's not really low, but it's just low enough where it can catch some parking stalls and things. But otherwise, very nice. Let's get it on the ground. So before I go over the list of everything the customer wants done, which it's not that big, it's not anything gravely dangerous or anything that needs to be done, but I'll go ahead and open the boot again, but I will help it this time and it should open properly. There we go. You can see we have in here a battery tender. So this little arm right here actually goes into the body. There's a little linkage there. I don't know if we can see the motor or not. Let me move this out of the way. Aha! There it is. It says Bentley on it. That big silver case, actually it's not very big, but that is the motor that actuates this trunk, and the teeth are stripped out. No one makes gears for those, and I'm not going to make 3D printing ones. I'm not going to mess with all that. The only option is a brand new motor, and it's very expensive. So there's 2 options here. We can put an expensive brand new motor on it, or we can disable it to where it's manual open and close. I'm not going to put plastic gears in there from a 3D printer and warranty it. The motor is so expensive. I would not want to be liable for it not doing as well as it should, or it's not engineered properly and it hurts something, burns up the motor, who knows. That's not what I'm not going to do that here. The motor, depending on where you buy it, is $1,500 to $2,000 just for that little box. The customer does say that Scuderia Parts has one in stock. We're going to actually call them in the morning to verify yes, it is or isn't in stock. The last time we went down this road with a customer, no matter where you went, it was a year or more wait. And we're not going to leave the car in the shop for a year waiting on a part, so we didn't get to fix it. But this time around, it looks like online it is in stock, but you guys know there's many things out there that say they're in stock. You really should call them like what we're going to do to verify, because you plunk down the cash, 3 days later you get an email. We actually don't have that part. Even though it says it does, we don't. So we'll call them in the morning, verify it, and then we'll get a price together. It's not very quick and easy to replace that as well. So on top of the $1,500 to $2,000 for that motor, there's going to be time involved as well. Very, very expensive. I'm going to let this down. I'm going to kind of help it. I don't want it to crash. Oh, look guys, it won't even do it. The teeth are so bad in this thing, it won't even begin to close, so I'll help it a little bit more. There we go. It's a very common issue on these Continental GTs with age. Those things go out. So let's get the list going. So I printed off the email. Some of the things he's concerned about is the deferred maintenance. The owner's manual has been completed up to year 7, but after that, he'd like everything remaining after that to be updated or brought up to date. Oil change, he'd like to have that done. The noise it's making in the boot, or when you try to open it, it's making all those noises. We just went over that. There's some issues. The batteries were replaced before the customer bought it, and some of the bolts are missing. There's also a vent missing for one of the batteries. He'd like us to look at that and address it. There is a suspension fault that we'd like to look at. We'll have to do that off camera. And then once we get that solved, he'd like to have the suspension lowered to a European specification. We'll see if we can do that here. We do have the OEM Bentley scan tool and also Rolls-Royce, which go up to about 2015, which would be covered on this vehicle. He mentioned some issues at the center console at the roof. We haven't looked too much into the interior. We'll have to see what's going on there. Valve cover gaskets, see if they need to be done. Again, that's another one of those issues that to really get a thorough inspection, we're going to have to remove some of the air filter housings and some things in there just to be able to even look at them. But we can tell they're not leaking badly because it's not all over the bottom belly pan. And a basic full inspection to check everything over and make sure it's ready to go. So it seems like there's a lot on that list, but it's not that big of a deal. Nothing is catastrophic or really a big deal, other than the boot. It's going to be kind of expensive. The valve cover gaskets, if they do prove to be leaking, again, that's going to be the plenums coming off and everything to get to them, the coils, all 12 coils being pulled, and it can be kind of an involved job. It's not going to be quick and easy like Dad's Chevy 350. And once Magic Mike comes out and does the thorough deep inspection on this vehicle, he may find a few other things. We don't know yet, but so far it's looking very clean. It looks very promising that it's not going to be anything serious on this vehicle. I enjoy working on these Continentals. I really love these cars. They're really, really nice. They're not nice when they get to 150,000 miles, and you guys know from Hoovie's Garage, he bought one sight unseen that happened to be used by a Russian mobster, and the story on that car, I don't even know where that car is now, and really I don't even care, but as long as they're maintained, they're very, very sweet cars to own. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to fix this nice Continental, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.